Have you ever noticed just when life starts to feel lighter, something emotional suddenly surfaces? An old memory, a feeling you thought you had already moved through, a sadness you can't quite explain, a longing, a loneliness, a question that keeps returning no matter how many times you push it away. And if you're like many women, your first instinct may be to make it stop, to stay busy, to distract yourself, to tell yourself you're overthinking, to focus on everyone else. But what if these feelings aren't interruptions? What if they're invitations? What if a part of you has simply been waiting for a moment when life became quiet enough to finally be heard? Because that's something I've been noticing lately. Many women spend so much of the year pushing forward that they rarely have time to hear what is happening inside of them. Then summer arrives, the pace shifts, the routines change, and suddenly something underneath begins asking for attention. Not because you're falling apart, because you're finally creating enough space to feel. Welcome to the Primal Priestess, where intuition, embodiment, and ancient wisdom meet modern life. Cancer season arrives during one of the busiest and most outward facing times of the year, which is interesting, right? I really find that fascinating because the energy of summer often encourages expansion, travel, gatherings, celebration, movement, experiences, more. Yet, Cancer energy asks a completely different question. It asks, how are you really doing? Not the version you post online, not the version everyone depends on, not the version that keeps everything running. You, the woman underneath the responsibilities, the woman underneath the roles, the woman underneath the expectations, the woman underneath the performance. Because many women become so skilled at caring for everyone else that they slowly lose connection with themselves. Not intentionally, but gradually, quietly, one small abandonment at a time. And honestly, that's why I love this channel, because I see this in clinic a lot. So maybe you've experienced this. You tell yourself you'll rest after this project. You'll slow down after this season. You'll deal with your emotions later. You'll make time for yourself when things calm down, but later keeps moving. And eventually you find yourself living a life that looks successful from the outside while feeling strangely disconnected on the inside. Disconnected from your needs, disconnected from your emotions, disconnected from your intuition, disconnected from your own voice. Many women don't lose themselves in one dramatic moment. They lose themselves through 1,000 tiny moments of putting themselves last. And eventually, something inside begins whispering, becoming wiser, becoming more evolved, becoming more healed. I think one of the greatest misunderstandings about healing is the belief that growth is always about becoming someone new, becoming stronger, becoming wiser, becoming more evolved, becoming more healed. But what if healing isn't always becoming? What if healing is remembering? Remembering who you were before you learned to suppress your emotions, period. Before you learned to prioritize everyone else's comfort over your own truth. Before you learned that being needed was more important than being connected. Before you learned to ignore your body's signals. And definitely before you stopped trusting yourself. Because many women aren't searching for a new version of themselves. They're searching for the version that got left behind. Cancer season reminds us that emotional sensitivity is not weakness. Your emotions are information. Your intuition is information. Your longings are information. Your exhaustion is information. Your loneliness is information, and your resentment is information. Every feeling carries wisdom if we're willing to listen. And I know sometimes that's the tough part. The problem is that many of us have been conditioned to immediately fix, suppress, judge, or distract ourselves from what we're feeling. We're being told you're in your feelings. Well, yeah, we are, but it's for a reason. It's information. We treat emotions as problems, but emotions are often messengers, and messengers become louder when they're ignored. Same with our life lessons, right? Maybe the sadness isn't trying to hurt you. Maybe it's trying to show you where healing is needed. Perhaps the exhaustion isn't failure. Perhaps it's asking you to stop carrying what was never yours to hold. We're so good at that, aren't we? And perhaps the loneliness isn't punishment. It's revealing where deeper connection is needed. This week, I want to invite you into a simple practice. For 10 minutes each day, create a small moment of stillness. And even if you can only do it for 5, give yourself grace. But no phone, no television, no podcast, no multitasking, just you. And then ask yourself, what am I feeling that I haven't allowed myself to acknowledge? Sit with whatever arises without fixing, without judging, without rushing, simply witnessing. Because the moment we stop abandoning ourselves, something extraordinary happens. We begin rebuilding trust. We begin reconnecting with our inner world. We begin remembering who we are. What part of yourself has been waiting patiently for you to come back? Let me know. Comment below. If this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to continue exploring these deeper conversations with us here on this channel at Primal Priestess. Together, we explore intuition, embodiment, emotional healing, nervous system awareness, and the journey of reconnecting with yourself beneath the noise of everyday life. And if you're curious about deeper emotional, energetic, and nervous system patterns that may be affecting your well-being, you can explore our remote energetic scan for additional insight and awareness. It's not a requirement, just a tool. The link's in the bio if you need it. Okay, we're here to support you however you need it. And until next time, trust yourself a little deeper, soften into your truth, and remember who you are beneath the noise.